So today I will be discussing about the static stability and dynamic stability of glenohumeral joint. So what is static stability? Static stability is the stability of the glenohumeral joint when we are not performing any movement. So that is called as a static stability. And dynamic stability is the stability of the glenohumeral joint when we are performing any movement, any of the movement in the shoulder joint. That is called as a dynamic stability. So today's topic is how the glenohumeral joint is stabilized when we are not moving, when we are not moving the joint, or when we are not performing any movement of the shoulder joint. So before going detail about and we will be discussing the role of thoracic posture and stability of static stability of the shoulder joint. Role of scapulothoracic posture in stability of the glenohumeral joint, static stability of the glenohumeral joint. So before going detail, we will be studying about the muscles of the shoulder complex. See, most of the muscles of the shoulder complex, they are divided, they fall in one of the either two categories. That is, there are two groups of muscles are there. One is called the stabilizers of the stabilizers, and the next one is called as the mobilizers of the shoulder joint. So how we will define the stabilizers of the shoulder complex? So the stabilizers are the muscles which originates from the cranium or the spine or the ribs. The origin is what is stabilizers? The stabilizers are the muscles which gets origin from the cranium, the spine and the ribs. The origin should be in either one of these three structures or these three bony structures, and insertion is either in scapula or in clavicle. So they are called as stabilizers. So stabilizers are the muscles which gets originated in spine, cranium and ribs, and the insertion is either in the scapula or in the clavicle. This is scapula, and this is clavicle. This is posterior view. So they are called the stabilizers. And what is mobilizers? Mobilizers are the muscles which gets originated from scapula or clavicle and inserted into the humerus or the forearm. Clear? So any of the shoulder muscles, they are coming and they are coming under two categories. So one is stabilizers, another one is mobilizers. Stabilizers are the muscles which originate from cranium, spine and ribs. Insertion is in scapula or clavicle. Mobilizers are the muscles which originate from clavicle or scapula and inserted into humerus or the forearm. So normally there should be an for an optimal function of the shoulder joint. Optimal function of the shoulder joint, there should be an interaction between the stabilizers and the mobilizers. For the functional, for the optimal function of the shoulder joint, there should be an interaction between the stabilizers and mobilizers. So what is an example of stabilizers? Stabilizers, example, serratus anterior, trapezius, because trapezius and serratus, and trapezius is originating from cranium. There are many origin are there. Upper trapezius, we are talking upper trapezius, they are originating in spine and cranium and inserted into scapula. So they are called as the stabilizers. Serratus anterior also, they are having origin from ribs and they are inserting in the scapula. So they are the stabilizers. And mobilizer example is deltoid. That is, origin is scapula So acromion, that is part of the scapula and clavicle, and insertion is into the humerus. So they are the mobilizers of the shoulder joint. So normally there should be an interaction between the stabilizers and the mobilizers. So if the serratus anterior or the trapezius are paralyzed, spinal accessory nerve palsy, or in hemiplegia, or in muscular dystrophy, you take any condition which will paralyze the stabilizers. If the stabilizers are paralyzed, then deltoid cannot able to do its function properly. Are you clear? For if the stabilizers are paralyzed, so that the deltoid now cannot able to do its function properly. That is the the torque. The torque cannot be produced. Maximum torque cannot be produced by the deltoid muscle if the stabilizers are paralyzed. See, for example, for example, if we take a humeral abduction, during abduction movement, clear, the scapula, what is the abductor? There are many abductors, supraspinatus, initially supraspinatus, फिर deltoid, फिर trapezius. So when we talk about the abduction of the shoulder joint, the scapula should be stabilized. Clear? The proximal bone should be stabilized when distal bone is moving. That is, during shoulder abduction, scapula should be stabilized. So for example, if the scapula is also rotating along with the humerus, then the deltoid will not get the torque. Or in other words, if scapula is not stabilized, that is the base. Scapula is the base for the humerus. If scapula is not stabilized, then the deltoid muscle cannot able to produce its maximum torque during the abduction of the glenohumeral joint. So this is about the role of muscles. This is about the stabilizers and mobilizers of the shoulder complex. So next is we will be discussing about the scapulothoracic joint, because we are going to study how the scapulothoracic posture, it helps in static stability of the glenohumeral joint. So for that we have to study about the scapulothoracic joint. So scapulothoracic joint is one of the shoulder girdle. That is, what is shoulder girdle? Shoulder girdle, it consists of sternoclavicular joint, acromioclavicular joint, glenohumeral joint, and scapulothoracic joint. Scapulothoracic joint, it is not a anatomical joint, it is a physiological joint. So anatomical joint is sternoclavicular, acromioclavicular, glenohumeral, that is shoulder joint. So these three are the anatomical joint, and physiological joint is scapulothoracic joint. So what are the movements of scapulothoracic joint? So scapulothoracic joint, what are the movements? What are the possible movements in scapulothoracic joint? That is elevation. The muscles are elevator, depressor, and upward rotation, upward rotator, and downward or external or internal rotation. It is upward rotation and internal rotation. Sorry, downward rotation, upward rotation, and downward rotation, and protractor, and retractor. So these are the movements, possible movements in scapulothoracic joint. Clear? So we will discuss about the elevator. So what are the movements? Elevator, first is this is suppose if we take this as a rib, so this is lateral view, you are seeing lateral view. So this is scapula and these are the ribs. So this is elevator, so this is elevation and this is depression and this is protraction and this is retraction and this is upward rotation and this is downward rotation. That is, this is upward rotation, glenoid cavity is lateral side, clear? This is upward rotation, downward rotation, elevation, depression and protraction and retraction. So these are the possible movements in scapulothoracic joint. We are not discussing other joint. We are not discussing sternoclavicular, we are not discussing acromioclavicular, we are not discussing glenohumeral. We are discussing scapulothoracic joints. So elevator. So can you name the muscles of elevation in scapulothoracic joint? No idea. So elevation is elevator. Elevator is trapezius, upper trapezius and levator scapulae, and third one is rhomboideus minor and rhomboideus major. So these are the three muscles of elevation, that is elevation of the scapulothoracic joint. So upper trapezius, you know, it is attached to the clavicle, lateral end of the clavicle, and this is levator scapulae. I have not drawn the trapezius. This is levator scapula. It is inserted in the superior angle of the scapula, and this is rhomboideus minor and this is rhomboideus major. So rhomboideus minor and major, it gets insertion below the this acromion, that is spine, below the spine. This is spinous process and this is acromion process. So below the spine and medial margin of the scapula is the insertion of the rhomboideus minor and major. This is rhomboideus minor, this is rhomboideus major and this is levator scapulae. So these are the muscles which elevate the scapula. These are the elevators. So this elevator is having, they are responsible to maintain the ideal posture of the scapula. Elevators are the muscles which maintain the optimal posture or ideal posture of the scapula. So what is the ideal posture of the scapula? Suppose if we are, that is, if we are not performing any at rest, if we are not performing any movement, the scapula is in certain posture. Clear? The scapula is when we are not performing any activities, that is resting posture or of the scapula. What is an ideal posture of scapula is the scapula should be slightly elevated. That is normal posture or ideal posture of scapula is the scapula should be slightly elevated and the scapula should be slightly retracted and it should be upward rotation. That is glenoid with glenoid fossa facing slightly upward. I am showing the anterior surface of right scapula. Clear? I am showing anterior surface of, this is anterior surface, posterior surface of right scapula. Clear? So this is elevation of scapula and this is retraction of scapula and slightly upward rotation. That is glenoid fossa should face slightly upward. So this is the ideal posture of the scapula. So this posture, this ideal posture of the scapula is maintained by the elevators of the scapulothoracic joint. Clear? That is called as a scapulothoracic posture. Scapulothoracic posture, ideal posture of the scapula. If the trapezius is paralyzed, then what will happen? Actually, trapezius is attached to the lateral end of the clavicle and it provides the greatest leverage for the clavicle Clear? That is shoulder girdle. Clear? Shoulder girdle. That is clavicle and the acromion together is shoulder girdle. Clear? So it has an important role. Upper trapezius is having important role in elevating the shoulder girdle or to maintain the scapulothoracic posture. So if the upper trapezius is paralyzed, for example, so what will happen? If upper trapezius is paralyzed, then the shoulder will not be in, the scapula will not be in idle posture. So what will happen if elevators are paralyzed? Now the scapula will not be in idle posture. So what will happen? So if that is now the scapula will be, if elevators are paralyzed, now the scapula will be depressed and it will be protracted and it will be downward rotated. Now the glenoid will face down. This is opposite to that of ideal posture. Ideal posture is elevation, retraction, upward rotation of the, slight upward rotation of the scapula. This is the ideal posture. If the elevators are paralyzed, then the scapula will be depressed and it will be protracted, opposite to that. I'll write it better. So elevation and retraction and upward rotation. This is ideal posture, and opposite to this will happen if the elevators are paralyzed. So what will happen if elevators are paralyzed? That we will discuss. So here, if the elevators are paralyzed, suppose upper trapezius are paralyzed, now the leverage is lost. So the scapula now it will result in, now I am drawing the anterior view. This is sternum and this is sternoclavicular joint, and I have told trapezius is attached to the lateral end of the clavicle, lateral one third of the clavicle. Clear? So if this muscle is paralyzed, then what will happen? The lateral end of the clavicle will drop. The lateral end of the clavicle along with the acromion process will, along with the scapula, it will drop. When this is dropped, then what will happen? With the leverage of the first rib, and the first rib as the leverage, now it will dislocate the superior dislocation of the sternoclavicular joint will occur. If the elevators are paralyzed, if the lateral end of the clavicle is dropped, when the lateral end of the clavicle, so this lateral end of clavicle is dropped, and with the leverage of first rib, now the clavicle will now gradually it will migrate superiorly and it will result in dislocation of the sternoclavicular joint. So next is, so in this diagram, what we see here in this diagram, this diagram shows the scapulothoracic posture, that is role of scapulothoracic posture in maintaining the static stability of the glenohumeral joint. Role of scapulothoracic posture. We know what is scapulothoracic posture. How the scapulothoracic posture helps in maintaining the static stability of the glenohumeral joint. So in this diagram, this is the rope, and a rope which represents the muscles which are attached to shoulder girdle. So this rope, it represents the muscles which are attached to the shoulder girdle. So along with the muscular force, the superior capsular structure, it helps to, so this is the direction of the force of superior scapular structures, and this is the force which maintains this, that is muscle which maintains the slightly elevated posture of the scapula. So along with these forces, two forces, that is capsular force, superior capsular force, and the muscles which is attached to the shoulder girdle, along with this force, the gravity force, what is this? The gravity, due to gravity, this is a gravity force. So this gravity force, it makes a force that is called compression. When you add these two forces, you will get the compression force. So this compression force in the compression force along with the scapulothoracic posture. The compression force along with the scapulothoracic posture helps to lock the glenoid, lock the humerus with the glenoid cavity. Are you clear? So this stability, that is static stability, is partly by the glenohumeral joint itself. Glenohumeral joint. Clear? That is position of, see this, if the scapula, imagine this is glenoid cavity and this is the humerus. Clear? So when the glenoid cavity, it faces slightly upward, so in scapulothoracic posture, the glenoid cavity, it faces slightly upward. So this posture, partly this posture itself helps in stability of the glenohumeral joint. Clear? So when due to gravity is pulling the glenohumeral joint down. Clear? Because the scapula is slightly upward rotated, so this inferior portion of the glenoid cavity, partly it stabilizes the glenohumeral joint. So position of the scapula is partly responsible for the static stability of the glenohumeral joint. Clear? So here the compression, this is compression force. This compression force, it locks. This compression force, it locks the humerus with glenoid cavity. Clear? So this locking will be present only when the scapula is in ideal posture. Clear? So this locking of the humerus with the glenoid cavity will be present only if the scapula is in ideal posture. Clear? So now in second diagram we are seeing the muscles are paralyzed. Clear? So here the upward rotation of the upward rotation, because the trapezius and other elevators, levator, scapula and rhomboides, are responsible to maintain this optimal posture, and now these muscles are paralyzed. If these muscles are paralyzed, then what will happen? The scapula will now, it will not be in ideal posture. It will be opposite to ideal, that is, it is slightly rotated down. That is inward rotation or downward rotation. Downward rotation of the scapula will result if elevators are paralyzed. So now what will happen? If the elevators are paralyzed, so scapula is not, the glenoid cavity, now it not faces upward. Now the glenoid cavity, it faces lateral. Clear? So when the glenoid cavity, now it faces laterally. Clear? Now what will happen? This bony stability is lost. Previously the inferior surface of the glenoid cavity partly stabilizes the glenohumeral joint. If the elevators are paralyzed, now the scapula will not be in an ideal posture. Now there is the chances, or the inferior the bony stability, now it is lost. Clear? So now the gravity is the force. which is responsible to maintain the posture of the scapula. In this situation, previously elevators are maintaining the idle posture of the scapula. If elevators are paralyzed, now what happens? The gravity is the main force which is responsible to maintain the posture of the clear. Gravity force is acting now more. If the gravity is acting more, then there will be more stretch on the superior capsular structure. Previously, both these forces are are acting. Now this force is lost. Clear? So now there will be excess strain or stress on the superior capsular structure. Clear? And the gravity is acting. There is no opposition. Clear? Previously there was opposition. Now there is no opposition for gravity. So it will pull the glenoid, the humerus down, and now because the angle is increased, previously angle was less. Clear? Now the angle, because the angle is reduced. See the force, now this is the force which is acting in upward direction. So now the angle is increased. So if this angle is increased, what will happen? Now the compression force is reduced. So previously the compression force was more. Clear? In ideal posture, the compression force will be maximum. Clear? Which helps to lock the humerus with the scapula. Clear? And now the angle is, because the scapula is not in ideal posture and the gravity is acting more and the compression force is less. So this compression force, previously it was more and now it is less, and now this compression force, now it cannot able to fix the humerus with the scapula. Gradually what will happen? The glenoid cavity will sublux inferiorly. Clear? So this is called as an irreversible irreversible dislocation. That is, you can't, because now if this posture is maintained for a long time. Clear? That is why in hemiplegia there is an inferior subluxation of the glenohumeral joint. In hemiplegia and muscular dystrophy, what happens? The elevators are paralyzed. Upper trapezius elevators are paralyzed. If the elevators are paralyzed and if this posture is maintained for a long time, then there will be stretching on the superior capsular structures. So there will be, if it is stretched, then the capsule cannot able to hold the glenohumeral capsule. Now it cannot able to hold the humerus with the scapula. Clear? So now what will happen? Gradually the glenohumeral joint will sublux inferiorly and this is irreversible. Clear? So this is the role of scapulothoracic posture. Role of scapulothoracic posture in maintaining the static stability of the glenohumeral joint. So what is the conclusion? That is, we discussed the stabilizers